It's June 6th, 2013, and this is Pocket Gamer to give you some first hands-on impressions of all the new and exciting iOS games that have just come out. First up, we have Bridgy Jones, which is much more than just a fantastic name. It's a stellar bridge-building puzzler with a really great editor and a cracking sense of humour. Your job is to build bridges over gaps by snapping together bits of wood, lengths of rope and sections of railway track. Then you'll drive a steam engine over your creation and hope it can take the strain. The best bit is the extra objectives, which force you to build bridges under tight limitations. You might have to reduce your dependency on support beams, or make a jump, or beat a time limit. Bridgy Jones is constantly challenging you to build in new and exciting ways. It's really great. Next up is Scurvy Scallywags, which is an addictive match 3 puzzler with a really razor-sharp wit. You can probably thank Monkey Island creator Ron Gilbert for that, who lent his winning sense of humour and some smart game design and a love for all things pirates to this game. The core idea is that your pirate hero is a piece on the board, and you can move him around by matching up blocks. It's a little tricky to get used to, but it puts a very different spin on a tired, practically comatose at this point, genre. So you'll move your swashbuckling hero about to collect quest items, beat up enemies and loot treasure chests. That way you'll get new skills and you can build better boats. It's every bit as compulsive as your typical gem matchup, but deeper and way funnier. Sparkle 2 is Zuma, basically, or Puzzle Loop if you want to go back even further. Whatever you call it, it's about spitting gems into a big snake-like procession of other gems in the hopes of matching 3 of the same colour. So what do you get if you've already played a million hours of the original Sparkle, or any of its predecessors? Well, you get some fancy power-ups like fireballs and one that changes the colour of all nearby gems, and a whole lot of visual polish, but that's about it really. Speaking of vaguely distinct sequels, Kingdom Rush Frontiers is a game that doesn't deviate much from its predecessor, which is probably quite wise, seeing as the original game was so good. We gave it a 9 and said it was, challenging and perfectly pitched, balanced and that sort of stuff. This one's got some fresh heroes, more enemy types, a vaster array of towers and more upgrades. You could describe this game pretty well by saying the same, but more. Chiyobo has a relatively clever central conceit. As well as controlling this weird little man in a gimp suit, you also get to cast your influence over these patchwork cubes. You just tap on a block and you'll get an extra set of controls to move it about. So you'll move these platforms, you'll solve little environmental puzzles, flick switches, that sort of thing. Sadly, this smart idea is let down by some truly horrific controls. Our hero floats through the air like an empty crisp packet, and trying to land on a precise spot is an exercise in sheer frustration. Why do they make these games so hard to pronounce? PYXL is, it's okay, you spin this triangle around, so incoming coloured dots hit the edge of your triangle on the same colour. You tap on dots to speed them up, and you can tap on black dots to get rid of them. It's a little tricky to play because, by virtue of spinning around this triangle, your big fat finger often covers up the shape and makes it kind of impossible to see what's going on. I'm not won over, but it does exist, I guess, that much is true. Cubemen 2 is another tower defense strategy thing. This time you're sending out boxy blue troops with guns and flamethrowers to stop an invasion of boxy red troops with guns and flamethrowers. It got decidedly average reviews when it was released on PC, and this iOS port struggles with moving the camera around and placing units on pinpoint tiles. It's not for me, I'm afraid. Color Zen is a fresh puzzle game. Let's see if I can explain it. When two blocks of the same color collide, that color spills to fill the entire screen, and all blocks of the same color and ones that are exposed are engulfed in that paint. The idea is to remove each unwanted color systematically until you can fill the screen with the gold color, the one around the border. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, it's a clever idea, and the game is well made. It's kind of playful. I like it. The blocks are little physics objects you can move around, and it has that cool new flat design principle that everyone's been banging on about lately. It's not a bad game, quite fun.